just wanted to interview you because I think you've such an
Okay.
inspiring, just that you happen to be there and out of your own will, you've chosen this path. And I just wanted to find out a little bit more about your story and your journey and to help inspire other people and to let them know that you're never too old to change your ways and to find help. So maybe you could tell me a little bit more about your story.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know where to start, but just to say that my father was a sort of frustrated farmer. So although we lived on a mine property, he had cows and sheep, and we kept turkeys, and we pulled up the lawn and planted lucerne to feed the chickens. I mean, we made our own butter, and he had an African man from the mining to do the churning. You get the milk and then you use that churner to separate the milk and the cream. I mean, that all happened in a little house on a mining property
by hand.
And so I think I had a really good start to my life. In physically, emotionally, it was bad because it was alcoholic, violent, passive, depressed mother. So I've done a lot of inner work, and I became a committed Christian, in various stages, really. And I think that's helped me just work through trauma and all that sort of thing. So I've done a lot of that work. And we were banana farming in Port Shepstone, and I worked as a physiotherapist in the hospital. And one of my patients, and this was like in my 30s, was a Seventh-day Adventist. And she really opened my eyes. I just accepted that food is food, but we were quite poor. And I mean, we were eating meat once a week on the farm. And she alerted me to how important it is to have food, although, it was very vegetarian. But so I didn't, thank God, I didn't go vegetarian, but it just really, it sort of shook me to, and then I started putting brewer's yeast on the oats and trying to have mince like twice a week instead of once a week. And then, so my children are all grown up now, but in 2017, I went to listen to a woman, I just can't remember her name, but she was supported Tim Noakes. And she had, I think, fibromyalgia or something, and she'd gone all the way to Australia. And I think she consulted Tor, Gary Tor.
Yes.
And this was like, I mean, before all of this became, so she gave a talk at a women's group in Somerset West. And I jumped on the bandwagon then. So I've been, first of all, I just got rid of all the sugar and then sort of some of the starch, but it was very up and down, but at least sugar was definitely out, and then I'd have an occasional cake or, for a celebration. And Carnivore is like the last year.
Okay.
I think I'm just so sad that I didn't know about Carnivore because my husband had Parkinson's. And so, I had like 10 years of caring and quite an emotional breakdown during COVID for myself. And then I woke up to the fact that I have to have a carer because I kept thinking, I can do this.
It takes a toll on you as well, especially when you're trying to be there for emotional support and family.
One morning I couldn't get out of bed. I tell you, it just felt as though I had absolutely no energy. So it took me about a year. I have a very good doctor in Somerset West. She's Erica Fulyoun, and I'm on hormone replacement with her. But she really helped me climb out of this hole, she was just amazing as a person and a doctor. So I'm sort of on half a SIRDEP. I don't want to rush it, but so for the last 6 months even, I'm just taking a half a SIRDEP, just like a little insurance, because my mother would, my mother spent a year in bed after my birth, and thank God my grandmother lived just down the road on the mine property. So she was my mother, my grandmother. And so I was like so afraid, that I might drop into
end up like that.
In my mother's, which did actually happen, but with my spirituality and very good friends in Helderberg Village and Erica, I'm fine. I mean, I'm operating. A friend and I caught the train to Cork Bay.
Oh, cool!
And had a lovely day in Cork Bay. So next month I'm 85, but I'm really feeling so well. So it's a bit tricky because I've got to have 15 meals here.
So let's talk about that. So you're living in a retirement village. There's a dining hall, and as part of the package, you get access to 10 meals from the rest of the dining hall, which are
so they've been quite flexible, but it's still pretty dismal. I mean, when I see these people, I want to cry. I want to cry. But they're on walkers and knees and losing sight, and anyway, I can't change other people, but so I have a boiled egg on lettuce instead of the starter every day. Every time I eat there. And then I'd have no sauces. So if there's vegetables, it mustn't be, because when I spoke to the manager of the catering firm and I said, what about seed oils? Because I wrote up a whole page for him, what I eat and what I don't eat. And he said, look, we have to use seed oils, so
So you've minimized your risk with that by avoiding the
so
sauces.
I have to accept that. And then I just, like will have a hamburger without the bun and vegetable. So I'm kind of managing, and everybody thinks I'm very strange because instead of a dessert, I have 3 blocks of butter. I put butter on my food, butter in my coffee, butter on my vegetables.
Yeah. And everyone thinks you're going to die of a heart attack.
Yeah. So I'm putting on weight, which is a bit disturbing. 62 kilograms, sorry, and I'm now 70 kilograms in 1 year.
Okay.
So it's on my tummy, but it doesn't feel visceral. I can grab it, if you know what I mean. So I'm not sure whether it's around my organs or if your tummy can grip all this fat.
So do you think that you were underweight before?
I've never thought that. No, I never thought that. But I haven't got fat anywhere else, if you know what I mean. My arms is, I haven't just got lots of stuff here, and it's a little bit on my hips. So some of my clothing doesn't fit now. That was very, very fitting. And so I don't know whether to be concerned, but I mean, I can't go on and on and on like that. So am I eating too much fat?
Well, it could be if you're still adding fat to your butter, butter to your coffee and on your vegetables and having it as a side. It could be that you are eating too much fat. And when we're eating carnivore and low carb, what that means is that instead of burning your own body fat, you're burning the fat that we eat. And because you may be eating more than what you should be, you are also storing some of it because you're not burning through all of it. But it's not I wouldn't say it's an unhealthy. You're not going to go back into metabolic syndrome because your insulin is low. So that is the key: is that we don't want high insulin and high fat. You know that. So long as your insulin is low.
I'm on this glucose monitor. I fluctuate between 4 and 5.
Yeah. No, so your sugars are perfect. So what you could do then to lose weight, if you wanted to drop a few kilograms, is to cut down a bit on the fat and try and eat a bit more lean protein a few days a week. And increase the protein.
Yeah, okay. Yes. And exercise is another thing because I belong to the Sports Science Institute, but I went, my neck is I haven't got arthritis anywhere else in my body except for my neck.
Okay.
And I went for this fascia release treatment, and it felt amazing when she did it on a Monday. And on a Wednesday, I couldn't lift this arm. Okay. So all the deltoid muscles were not working. I got a hell of a fright and went to a neurosurgeon. It was at university with my children. So he's great. So he gave me 2 cortisone injections, but my neck is full of arthritis, which could be trauma as well. My father used to beat me, so I mean.
You probably for so long held that trauma in your neck and was tense because of it for years.
But anyway, the cortisone is now fine. So I've got my arm back, but now I cancelled my subscription at so I have to sort of start doing a bit more exercise because I think that also burns. What would you say about exercise?
So exercise is good. 3 to 4 times a week. It doesn't have to be high intensity for you. So even something like swimming or a 30-minute walk or a slow cycle if you've got a bike, something like that would be enough.
Yeah, because what I was thinking of doing, we've got 2 staircases and it's 6 floors.
Okay.
Is to go up 1 flight and along the corridor and up and up and up and up, and we've got this beautiful dining come lounge on the 6th floor and library. I mean, it's really lovely. So I was thinking, I must really just get my act together and do that for a half an hour.
Yes.
Then it's done and dusted.
And stairs is a nice resistance exercise. So walking flat is not really strength training. It is a good exercise to get your heart going. But as soon as you're having to climb stairs, you're having to, your muscles are having, or you're having to lift your body against gravity. So it's more strength and resistance.
So that would be good.
Yeah, that would be good.
And before my centering prayer, I do some prostrations. Where you go down, face down and back up, and go down and back up. So I sort of feel that does use my arms and a bit of my core. But
have you got access to a pool?
Not really, no. I did at the Sports Science. I actually did aqua aerobics 3 times a week, and it was great. But I don't think I'll go back there. It's expensive as well. It's like 700 rand a month.
Yeah.
And it's now further away from where I live because I moved here in April, and before I was renting quite close to the Sports Science. So I think I'll just make another plan and do my exercise more consistently.
Yeah. But tell me some of the health benefits that you've experienced since obviously it's been a journey for you. It wasn't just something you've recently done. But since you started cutting out the sugar and the starch and now got on your way towards more maybe ketovore, carnivore, what health benefits have you noticed and what's changed?
I think mostly the quality of my sleep and also my energy levels. I used to sleep in the afternoon. I don't need that. And it's like I get to the day and I've had quite a, I'm retired, but still, we went to Cork Bay yesterday and walked to the station and, and I mean, normally I would come to the end of the day and just be, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. I can still do a few chores around the house. And so I think that, and I would say my mood as well, is more sociable.
Yes, because it can, yeah, you can kind of withdraw.
I can be a bit of a hermit,
Yeah.
And so I'm really finding conversation flowing more than I've experienced in the past. Where I'll come to a sticky end with the conversation, So it's just kind of liberated me I can't really put my finger on it, but just like telling my story more and also asking questions, not just answering questions, but you know what I mean. I just think there's a flow that wasn't there before. So
in terms of your brain function, memory, concentration.
Yeah. Sudoku. I'm a big Sudoku fan. I do my toilet and Sudoku every morning at the same time.
Okay.
And but something interesting about I've had constipation all my life. And my father, this also he believed anything that went wrong with you, it was because you had a goeie maag, and then we would get castor oil, or laxative, like Brook-Lax, or like every week. It took me a long time when I left home after my studies. Oh, well, I had to get married, but anyway, that's another story. The age of 20. And then I've actually had my baby, and then I went back and finished my physiotherapy. I took another year to go, and my mother-in-law looked after my firstborn. But constipation, then my dad would want to see our poo. He was like a control freak. And, anyway, it's so amazing. Now when I have a bowel movement, I say, Dad, you would be so proud of me.
Yeah.
It became such an issue. Oh my God.
And the more you make it an issue, the more it is an issue.
Yes. And maybe I don't go every day, but when I go, it's just there.
Yeah.
And, instead of it being like a struggle, like pushing and, I just sit in the do my Sudoku and it's all there,
And you feel so much better. You feel, not
yes, and
bulky or bloated.
And fine. I have noticed though, if I have too little fat, then I sort of struggle a little bit more days without, you know what I mean? So I've sort of have used that as a kind of fat indicator. If it comes out very kind of hard,
yes.
Then I think, oh, okay. And water is another thing. I do make my own electrolytes. Let me just check this out with you. I do Epsom salts, cream of tartar, and proper salt, good salt. And then I put a dash of, when I have a glass of that, I'll put a little bit of apple cider vinegar.
Okay, that sounds right. Does it taste okay?
I buy those sachets, the sugar-free ones, but I use that when I travel.
Okay.
If I'm going away for the weekend, or I'm going to Plettenberg Bay for 2 weeks.
Then you'll take those.
And then I take my waffle machine with me to holiday because there's no kitchen. And I make waffles with egg and cheese, and then put sardines. I love sardines with chopped capers and sun-dried tomatoes. And then I pour some of that sauce, because sardines, can be a little bit iffy. But I always take the one that's in salt, not the vegetable oil.
Okay.
So that's sort of I try and have my main meal at lunchtime. I just have bulletproof coffee in the morning with some nuts.
Okay. And then for dinner, what did you have for dinner then?
A whole tablespoon of MCT oil, a whole tablespoon of butter, and salt, and collagen powder in my coffee. And then with a few walnuts, no almonds, walnuts, macadamias, maybe 3 macadamias, 2 Brazil nuts, and a little bit of thing. So and then I'm not hungry until lunchtime. And if I'm on my own, I delay lunch. I'm not really hungry.
Yeah.
I'll have to go and eat at 12:30 today. And I choose Friday because there's always fish. So because I don't like cooking fish in my apartment, it makes it smell terrible. So, and then just something light at supper time, like a waffle or something.
Yeah, so I think it's just important then to make sure that when you're eating either at the dining hall or when you're making your own lunch, which would be your main meal, that you're eating the meat or enough protein. Yes. I think sometimes if we overdo the fats, we're getting all that energy in, but we're not getting all the nutrition that we should get from the protein. So just make sure that you are getting enough protein in your day.
But I have heard that your body turns protein into glucose.
But that's only in... We're only going to do that in like starvation mode. So if there's no energy coming in, we can convert protein to glucose. But when there's abundant energy from fat, you're not going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't worry too much about that.
Yeah. Because I make my own fricadelles. So I'll have 3 fricadelles, and then you see, then I'll put butter on top of them. But I've got a wonderful butcher, and I buy 70-30 mince. So it's 30% fat, 70%, and then I make a whole batch of fricadelles for my freezer. So that's my go-to. And then sirloin steak.
Yeah, that sounds fun. And then you're eating your eggs anyway. When you go to the dining hall, you get an egg with it.
Yes. Yes, yes.
So that's
So
from there
I just hope I can. I'm going to cut down a bit on the butter. You know,
maybe what you can do is just start with removing the fats out of, because you're having MCT as well, and the butter. So there's quite a lot of calories in that MCT oil. So maybe just taking that out of your coffee, so you can still have the coffee, but without that extra butter in there, and see how that goes.
And just leave the MCT oil, because I believe that is good for your brain. That it's
look, you're going to be in ketosis anyway. You are in ketosis.
Oh, let me film you. My son, you know, my two sons are sort of keto carnivore. I'm so thrilled, and my daughter actually. And so my son has bought your keto thing. I showed him your thing.
The keto monitor, yeah.
Yeah, he wants to just do it for 2 weeks, and he's going to pass the machine to me, and I'm going to order my own strips.
Okay.
So like in probably mid-November, then I'm going to see what my ketones are doing. Yeah. But I'm very happy with my glucose. You know, now that I've switched the notification off, it drove me mad right through the night. I would hear this warning
that your sugars are going too low.
Yeah.
Remember that they set up for people with diabetes, and obviously they need to be a bit more worried if it goes very high and very low. But for us, you know, I've also noticed mine goes down a little bit, but it's not a symptomatic thing. I don't feel shaky or sweaty or any of that.
No. Now, you know what? The one afternoon, I felt a bit dizzy, you know, like, but then I took my blood pressure. I've got a blood pressure machine, and it was quite high. So I'm not sure what that's, you know, whether it was cortisol or whatever. But I'll keep a check on it, because can that make you feel a little bit like vertigo almost, you know?
Yeah, I think the low blood pressure can also make you feel lightheaded and dizzy. But I mean, I've never experienced high blood pressure, but I've heard from people that they don't feel that well when it goes too high either. So I think you can get both. Yeah. I would just monitor it, make sure you're having enough water, and then keep on with your salt.
Yes, enough water.
That's fine in your water. And stress can make a difference to your sugars, to your blood pressure, your cortisol. So just making sure that you kind of don't allow yourself to burn or to get over that edge when it comes to stress and overwhelm.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so there's no ways I'll go back. You know, I mean, I'm just feeling so motivated and so well. You know, I mean, the positives outweigh any of the other little, you know, people laughing at me.
Yeah, I know what it's like. I also just wanted to mention that
you know,
you can use the fat. So just coming back to what we were speaking about earlier, in terms of adjusting the amount of fat for your bowels as well. So fat is something that you can adjust up and down. And when people tend to be more constipated, we recommend adding more fat. And if their stools become more loose, then we say tone it down a little bit. So that's why MCT oil, if you're not used to it, can cause diarrhea. So you can use fats. Some days have less, and other days you can add more, and see if that doesn't help you just manage your weight a bit better.
Yes. You see, I haven't got a scale, but I'm going to go. There's a scale downstairs at the nurse's station. So then I'll because when I went to the Sports Science Institute, my mind broke, and I just didn't think I would buy another one. So I used to weigh myself at the Sports Science Institute, and but now I'll go downstairs and just check that, you know, because I don't want you have to buy a new wardrobe.
No, you don't want to gain too much. You also could be gaining a bit of muscle. That's the other scenario. So if they have some sort of a scale where you can assess your fat percentage and your muscle mass, as well as weight, because remember the weight is just a number. So you might have lost, or maybe you've probably gained a bit of body fat, which isn't a problem, but you've also probably gained some lean muscle, which is good.
Yeah. Do you know what that machine is like? Because they had a machine at the Sports Science Institute, but I didn't think it could. It seemed to not test your visceral fat, but just your outer fat, if you know what I mean.
Okay, no, it does normally assess visceral fat as well. But it will depend on the machine, I suppose.
Yeah. So where would I go to get that done? At some doctors?
Yeah, doctors' rooms, dietitians. A lot of dietitians would have them. And then you just say you want to go to a gym.
Yes.
A gym even would have it.
Yeah.
Do you do any fasting, Dawn?
Yes.
You do fasting?
No, that's another thing to consider. Hey. Yeah. Look, I try and delay my, you know, I sort of try and have my supper like not later than 6. Okay. And then I usually have my bulletproof thing at 8. I try and, you know, keep that as what, but I haven't really, you know, done like a proper fast, you know.
Yeah. So that's something else you can think about to maybe bring into your routine.
Yes.
Because one of the things that we do is that when you are kind of where you are now, where you set in your routine and you're having the fat in your drinks, when we want to stress your metabolism more, so you're kind of like in this comfort zone now where you're getting in enough energy, you're not really using it all. You are in ketosis, so I don't think we'll see when you start checking your ketones, but you might not see huge readings because you've in a homeostasis now. You're making the ketones that your body's using, and so you're not going to see a large amount in your blood. So what you could start to do is to start stressing your metabolism again, because, you know, sometimes in the beginning you start a new diet and you lose weight, but then you kind of get stuck there. And so we have to keep stressing our metabolism to get the new mitochondria to replenish the old ones.
Yes.
So it might be that you're kind of in this plateau stage.
Yeah.
So what you could do is that if you're doing 16/8, which is probably what you're doing, and you're eating high fats during your 8 hours and then fasting for about 16 hours, you could start to clean up your morning drink by removing all calories and sweeteners. So no fat, no MCT oil, no butter, no sweeteners during that 16-hour fast.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And
So
then you eat your lunch.
Just water.
Or you could just have a black coffee, or I mean, I drink coffee with milk. It doesn't seem to do anything, but if you want, depending on how you are, so you either black coffee or just
cream.
Water. Well, cream is a calorie and it's fat. So when you're doing the advanced intermittent fasting, you're not going to be having any drinks with fat in it during the fasting time. So if your last meal was at 6 p.m. and you eat your lunch at 12, then that's 18 hours, which is that's a good number. But then instead of having your bulletproof coffee within that time, you're going to just have black coffee.
Okay.
Tea.
Yeah.
Salt, water, black coffee or tea, no sweeteners, no butter. So I think, that you've kind of maybe been stuck in the part where you still having too much fat when you should maybe cut that out. And then what you could do is, and I try and do this once a week with my low carb group, is that on a Monday we do a 24-hour fast. So then it could be that on one day a week, like a Monday, or you can pick the day, you don't have lunch, and then you just go the whole day, no fats, no sweeteners, no butter, until your evening meal, and then you just eat a bigger meal in the evening. And even if you just did that once a week, it would be fine for you.
Meat and everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so then you're eating all your calories, but in one meal.
Okay. So that just sort of shakes up your body a little bit so that it doesn't get too predictable.
Exactly. Yeah. Because what's happening then is that your body's not getting in the fat, so it's going to have to start using up what you've got on your body during that fasting period to get you.
And what do you do when you feel hungry? Do you feel hungry or not really? Or you just ignore it?
So salt on the tongue. So you drink your electrolyte drink. You could make yourself a coffee or a tea. And then a tip is to take your salt if you're going out for the day. So try and pick a busy day, day that you're not going to be sitting around. Put some of your salt in a little small Tupperware container and just keep that with you. And you just put a couple of granules of salt on your tongue when you start to feel hungry, because remember your body's now also used to the times that you eat. And so it's expecting food at 12. And then you're going to start feeling a bit of hunger pains. So you just take a little bit of that salt, put it on your tongue, and then it goes away. And that hunger is a bit like a wave. So it comes, you feel it, and then you don't respond, and then it goes, and it might come again. And then you might want to eat your evening meal slightly earlier if you feel like you can't wait till 6, maybe
like 5 o'clock. If you can get to 5 o'clock and you haven't eaten since 5 o'clock the day before.
Yeah.
That's the goal. I mean, that's
so that's where you're aiming for. But if you eat at 3, that's also okay, and it does get easier. So the first time you do it, you might get to 3 or 4 and be like, sure, my body really feels hungry. But maybe you won't, and then you can eat at 3 or 4. If you don't want to push through, the next time you try it, you might get all the way to 6 and feel fine. So as you say, that's going to shake it up a little bit. It's going to force your body to now make use of the fact that it's got stored, and that's going to raise your ketone level. So when so for me now, if I just check my ketones on a normal day, they're not going to be super high. I mean, they'll be higher than someone that's not in ketosis.
What would you call not super high? 2, 3, 4?
No. Let me go and check now. 1.
Okay.
If I do a fast, so if I do a 24-hour fast and then check my ketones before I eat, then they'll be 1.1, 1.2. So that would be high for me, but I don't generally get very high ketones.
Because mine was 2 when you did my thing at the summit, my keto.
It was 0.2.
Oh, was it 0.2? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. 0.2. And so what would you say was good ketones then?
So you want it to be above 0.5 to be in ketosis. So I'm checking mine right now just to see where I am. I have exercised this morning and I haven't eaten yet. So mine are 0.9.
Okay.
So that's good. So anything above 0.5 means that you are in ketosis. And if I check my sugar now, is your thing still working? Because mine's going to expire soon.
My glucose monitor, I can just have a look at here.
So there's a formula that we use to work out your glucose ketone index. And the lower the number, the better.
I'm 4.2 now.
Okay. Yeah, mine is on 4.6.
It's normally in the 4s. And then if I've had a meal, it might go into the 5. But that's okay.
No, that's perfect. So there's a glucose ketone index that we can calculate. And basically what we do is we take the glucose number and we divide it by the number that we get on the ketone monitor. So for me, mine is, it's just gone down to 4.4 now. So if I take 4.4 and I divide it by 0.9, it comes out at 4.8. And anything under 9 is means that you're in ketosis. So you want a low number there. So in other words, you want low blood sugar and a higher ketone to get that number.
Anything, sorry, you said anything under
9. I'll send you a little graph.
Okay. Yeah. So where do you live, Jennifer?
I'm in Midrand in Johannesburg. So my last question to you, Dawn, is what do you see yourself? Do you want to try and help other people in your area, in your community? Have other people seen what you're doing and been interested? Have they asked questions? Like, what is the I know it's difficult, and especially in that age group, which is why, I mean, I'm amazed that you've just taken this on and done it yourself. But I think that age group is so set in their ways, and they love tea and cake.
It's a bit difficult. You know, I have influenced my children, and they're trying to edge things with the grandchildren, you know, in the right direction. And you know, I've tried with the management. I got them that little banting on a budget, and I gave it to the management because they meet with the catering manager